We've seen that the ROX Tigers have had some success putting Mickey on this kind of passive lane pushing kind of champion where he can be active once he hits level 6, but not too active. It gives him a lot of defense so he doesn't exactly die. He's forced to build tanky, and it kind of helps him with his volatile play style.
Renekton being the final ban here against Helper. Curious ban there. Not sure why that ban is coming out, but that does leave Lee Sin and Caitlyn up on the table, and we only had one game of Renekton before, and previously just had been playing so much Jarvan and Shen.
Oh man, he's 0-6 on Jarvan. I think that's more about the team
exactly.
aspect, not exactly his Jarvan play. Could be both. But either way, Caitlyn is left up. They didn't want to hand over that Elise, and it looks like all nods and acceptance across the board here for the Tigers. Sangin will pick that up.
And 7-12 could be the downfall of Caitlyn, or at least where somebody else meets her at a halfway point, and it's going to be that Jhin. They were comfortable playing that Jhin matchup. Even though he started boots, he was still perfectly fine in that lane, and here it's going to come out. I mean, they're going to lock it in right away. However, could have waited for a little bit later if they wanted to prioritize something else on the map, but this just means that by locking this pick early, they're hiding as much as possible and just saying, you already know that our answer to Caitlyn is Jhin, so let's not pretend.
Gonna take away the Gragas this time around. Looking like it is hovered. There it is. We'll have to see if that's in the top lane or in the jungle. A bit of a flex pick for now for Ever8.
You want to put it in the jungle this time around. The Doran's shield nerf, or Doran's ring nerf, pardon, is significant in Gragas' laning phase. One of his key attributes was being able to just buy those triple rings and spam abilities endlessly, allowing him to sustain with HP and mana. Now that the passive no longer gives you stacking mana, it's now unique where you kill a minion and it refunds mana. I think that Gragas has been catering more towards the jungle role, and they're not going to allow him to even think about Gragas top as Seonghwan takes away that Lee Sin, and now they've got a composition that's pretty powerful in the early game as well.
Seonghwan, you were thinking about maybe an easier jungler for his first game coming in before he's warmed up, but no, you got to play Lee Sin, boy.
You got to be flashy, right?
Yeah.
And an easier jungler. Right now, Rek'Sai did receive a slight buff or some tweaks to make her ultimate a little bit better. Some increases in her base values as well as the ratio on her unburrow. However, when you're playing Rek'Sai and you have to deal with Gragas and Jhin, the chances of you actually getting CC and damage onto these champions is so low that it's never worthwhile. Meanwhile, you can be Lee Sin and actually make a difference by getting a great multi-kick or actually zoning them out. And Ella will respond with the Tahm Kench, which is a great answer to Seonghwan's Lee Sin, as you can eat while they're in Dragon's Rage.
And look at that, giving credit for the Karma mid, thinking that Mickey will be playing that. Just going ahead and banning away Key's Bard. Those Temper Fates were one of the only things that ROX was doing correctly in that game. Game 1.
It was all him, right? He was the one that was in charge of the rotations. He was getting the picks onto Lindarang, Shen. He was stopping so much of Duel's damage. That game could have ended even faster had it not been for Key's Bard, which he's been playing already 2 games in a row in their last match against MVP and this first match. So understandably so, get him off that comfort pick. He was on Ever at ESC Ever before, where he was really making his waves as a great Bard player, and Lulu will also be a denial pick, so making sure that the laning phase for Caitlyn is not as abusive as it could be into Tahm Kench, as well as a powerful late game protect composition between Karma and Lulu.
Orianna going to be banned here up against Scepted. You already do have that Gragas for nice engage. Paired with the Orianna could be a bit scary.
It's all about damage left now for Ever. They have enough crowd control on their side, and oh, it is actually going to be that Gragas into the top side. So the Rek'Sai buffs did come through, and when you're playing it into these champions, it's a little bit easier as Caitlyn can get knocked up with more ease as opposed to the Jhin that can always get that movement speed boost on his 4th auto attack and can just CC you in. If you go in, he can always just end up curtain calling you. But the great synergy that they have here is that this is a pretty hefty long-range composition. A burrowed Rek'Sai hits that Prey Seeker, and then the Deadly Flourish comes out from Jhin, and you immediately get yourself the ability to pick somebody else. And the Braum makes sense to stop a lot of these engages between Gragas and Jhin, but so far, they're going to need to crank up the heat if they want to snowball early.
Well, we've seen, I forget exactly who it was that went for Fiora Caitlyn one time for the ultimate late game kind of team, but it didn't work out.
I believe it was Jhin.
Yeah, I think it was Jhin, but gonna decide against that Fiora anyway. We'll go for Linderong's Jarvan this time.
So now they actually have some good protect composition. This is pretty nice so far. And you got lots of auto attackers that can synergize well with Braum. You've got your... Now that the Athene's Holy Grail does offer a little bit more of AP or your Karma, hey, we might even see some of that Zeke's convergence now as opposed to Zeke's Herald.
Perhaps, and a last pick on the Kassadin for Septid. Feels confident to go up against that Karma in the mid lane, thinks he can farm it out. Get to that really kind of disgusting Kassadin level where after level 11 you're just a roaming god. Really annoying to deal with.
They are conceding a bit of the early advantages, and unless Septid gets significantly far ahead of Karma, Kassadin's not going to have enough damage to kill anybody. Remember, there's 3 shields here. You got Linderang having shields, Songhwan with shields, Mickey with shields, and you have Key to deal with blocking so much damage. So while Kassadin can be a tremendous threat, Duel, I think, will be the guy that to really watch out for taking down many of the members of the ROX Tigers if Kassadin doesn't just explode this game as Ever did in Game 1.
Yeah, definitely could happen. If there was one guy to do it, it would be Septid in this lineup, of course. Looked pretty gross on the Lucian. This time looking to take it a little bit later. See what he can do up against that Karma. So going over the picks here once again.
Caitlyn Braum, your standard combination for Peel, the 2-man army, and then you have your supporting squad of Linderang and the rest of the squad with Karma and Lee Sin. But what I'm looking out for Ever's lineup is this bottom lane, Duel and Ella. It's basically an instant setup artillery. Abyssal Voyage with Jhin. Your trips to the mid lane mean you can lock down anybody from so far away with Deadly Flourish and your Curtain Call. Such a surprising kind of semi-global composition that can be explosive to watch.
Yeah, and it looks like the names here are flipped, guys. Actually, Septid is the one playing the Kassadin, so flip it all up, upside down.
Flip it in your head.
Yeah, flip it in your head. So guys, we're going to jump into game number 2. Check out how it goes. Ever8, even after winning that first game, still struggling to get a big cheer out of the crowd. I think, you know, when they first came into LCK, they definitely got a bunch of fans after their first couple of performances were pretty nice. You know, Malrang and Septid were popping off and looking quite good, even though they lost one of those games. But has gone downhill since then. They're really trying to pull things together, and win over the Tigers would be, again, as I said before, kind of pushing them further away from relegation. When you get into LCK, you're not looking to win the entire thing, right? That would be crazy. The Royal Road, straight from relegation into the championship up against teams like SKT, KT, and Samsung. Obviously, that's going to be nearly impossible, but if they could make it at least into the next season, into the next split, that would be pretty nice for them. So that's what they're looking for.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
Got to start somewhere. And both junglers starting somewhere. They will be going red side, but look at Lee Sin's route. This is either a steal or a level 2 gank bottom lane. Oh boy.
And they set it up. Looks like he will be... Yeah, but he walks over a ward, it looks like, so they should know where he is. And that just means vertical jungling for both of these guys.
And remember, both these junglers don't need mana, so it's all about starting that vertical jungling, as you're saying. It's got nothing to do with slowing down the jungler, as they both respond swiftly, and they'll be able to farm up this other side of the map. But what this does is it frees up Gragas from having an easier laning phase, but it enables the Caitlyn from ROX to have an easy time harassing this duel and Ella bottom lane without any fear of getting ganked.
You can see just how aggressive they are. Now with level 2 hit, beginning to poke even a little bit more. Duel attempting to fight back. Malrang, by the way, is going to be spotted all the way across. Not sure how the Scuttle Crab went over. I think Mickey must have stolen that.
Or I believe it was Linderang, but however, what I want to draw some attention to is actually this could be some seriously cool next level strategy from the ROX Tigers, because notice how the camps went down. Song Hui-Yun was able to take out the Wolf camp and the Gromp, whereas Malrang could not take either, and that's because Jarvan and Mickey have complete control of the lane. They have full-on access to pushing out. Now Mickey or Malrang will look for the camps a little bit later, but because of the timing of this, it allows the jungler to get a little bit far ahead. So ROX Tigers responding with a way to try to get the junglers ahead, and this does put Songwon in a bit of a camp advantage. Now he's going to be able to finally take them down, but Songwon's already ahead of him.
Getting a nice lead so far on that Lee Sin. Helper going aggressive up against that Jarvan. Knows that he has Rek'Sai up in the top lane. Or up near the top lane, I should say. Here we go, Malrang coming on in. Can he get that on Burrow? Doesn't look like they'll force it. No flashes burned.
Every second that Malrang does this, Songhwan gets further and further ahead. He has camp advantage, tempo advantage. It doesn't translate into levels just yet. And sure, 22 to 11 CS seems huge as it's being doubled, but remember, it's jungle camps. Those numbers are always inflated, but he always has now the first strike as Malrang continues to be in the top set. And could they be eyeing a 5-man dive this early on? Mickey's moving. Oh boy.
They're definitely thinking about it. Here comes Mickey, as you were saying. Can they take that blast plant together? Should be some missing pings in the mid lane. Already did see it, and you can see that Ella and Duel, they're already backing off, but not far enough. And here we go, the tether into the flash. Teleport coming in from Helper. Key eating a ton of damage, will be forced to burn that heal. Meanwhile, this Linderang on the run is forced to flash that wall. And it doesn't look like it's over there. They do get that trap onto Ella. The Grey Elf does come in. Key tanking it for quite a while. There's the tether onto Duel. Exhaust coming in and a double kill given over to Songyun.
Here comes Septic, but he's got nothing to do. That's a level 5 casted and just beautifully orchestrated from the ROX Tigers there. They pull the trigger. Okay, summoners are blown. We can return now that teleport has been blown. And more importantly, Malrang showed topside as well. Helper was distracted. There was no chance of a Gragas teleporting into this. Gragas' teleport would have been significantly more influential than Septed. And as such, they know everybody that's going to be in the bottom lane, and they have no qualms with pulling the trigger once again, and here they go. They see that Gragas is in lane, no chance of teleporting in, so they just go ahead once again. Key tanking the turret intelligently, and now it's Mickey in the final one, backs away off the final shot. Just great use of their own HP to tank out turret, and they walk away 2-0.
Yeah, after the first dive, I was getting a little bit scared because it didn't look all that fluid and nice, but the second one, as you said, was basically perfect. Good read there from the ROX Tigers, and this time it's them with the about 1,200 gold lead already at 6 minutes.
This is what we were expecting them in Game 1. This is why I favored them to actually come ahead of this series. So that Game 1 victory from Ever was not only impressive on their part, but somewhat disappointing from what the ROX Tigers brought out. But it seems like Songhwan has brought some new life into this team, and they seem completely awakened from what happened in Game 1.
Yeah, and this is going to be a problem for Ever8. I mean, you have a double kill Caitlyn, who already has a BF sword this early on. Yeah, against Tabis, and you can see they can barely even stay in the lane. I mean, he's using Deadly Flourish earlier on to just farm. And that will definitely get harder and harder in the bottom lane for Duel and Ella. Except it has hit 6, so he can begin putting on a bit more pressure onto this Karma.
Once Songhwan hits level 6 himself, it will be difficult for him. Ella buy some free time there, can go to the bottom side. But as long as ROX Tigers continues to play with the advantage that has been handed over to Sangyu, then they should be in a great spot as teleport from Kassadin is no longer there. That's a real threat. That now that he's level 6, you don't want to have him deal with an, oh boy, could it be a double TP? Great control word.
Yeah, I mean, they saw him put it down in their faces. So, Duel and Ella, making sure that doesn't happen. And now someone trying to steal that blue buff. Decepted on the chase. They will let him go. They want to make sure they can hand the blue buff over to Kassadin.
Look at this sick vision Ever have on their blue side here. Double greens at right side of mid. Control that pixel, control that blue, and another one behind the lane. They know what ROX Tigers' game plan is, and they're warding appropriately. And this could free up Mickey to look for an opportunity topside. Checks for wards. Perhaps he can revisit this lane later, but I don't think they have enough in their tank to take down a level 7 Gragas this moment.
Yeah, not quite yet. Deep control ward here onto the blue buff, so they'll know when that is taken up. And they do want to hand that over to Mickey. You can see that someone is making his way over to that blue buff. Some pings going down on the right side too. They kind of know where Malrong is. Correctly spotting him on the right side of the map. Do see him now. He's starting this Infernal Drake even at level 6.
He's taking advantage of both the bottom lane basing as well as them clearly knowing that blue buff is being handed over to Mickey. He's gonna get low. I think he doesn't have smite, so oh no. Oh, okay, here comes Kassadin.
Yeah, he needs the Kassadin to come in and tank. And looks like he will survive. Just barely. And again, you can only do this because they know that so much pressure was taken off the map. No Lee Sin nearby. Karma getting blue, bot lane going back. And it looks like Duel and Ella looking to head up into the top lane.
ROX will not let this happen. They do base in sight, so Ever have the chance to respond and abandon this lane once again if they so desire. So we could start seeing some mind games as to where the dual lanes are going. They understand that the Caitlyn is under pressure, and the safest lane for them to find ways to dive is going to be onto Tahm Kench and Jhin. While Tahm Kench does offer safety, he is immobile, so when you go for a 5-man, you can easily do it. And look at this. Here's the dancing shoes that we were hoping would happen.
They do show again on one of the wards up in the top lane, so they do see him. And ROX have successfully forced the 2-on-2. Look at that control ward from Sangyu.
It's a bizarre forcing on the 2-on-2 because the investment to vision bottom side is no longer there. Nobody really wants to gank Jarvan or Gragas this early on, especially as a 2-man. You need 3 to take any of these guys down, and as such, their vision blue side now doesn't do much for them. Now they're stuck laning top side with no idea as to what's happening, and Malrang has to be there.
Okay, Malrang with the knock up here onto Sungwon. And look at how much damage he's taken already. The Void Assault coming in. And the Curtain Call just barely out of vision. The kick onto Helper, getting him away. Not in range, and Sungwon with the Great Escape.
Going into face checking is never a good idea. Pays with his summoners, and he also has to blow his. While they did get 2 teleports out of that, it frees up Linderang to start pushing this tower, which was already quite low from the damage that Caitlyn had done. And look at how far away Gragas is. That's going to be first brick. So the move that ROX Tigers were making ends up paying off in the end.
Yeah, Gragas just not going to be here in time, although it looks like Linderang can't quite finish that off.
Oh, so close.
We do have the Glacial Shroud and the Kindle Gem here on Gragas. Isn't that the new recipe for Zeke's, or is that another item I'm thinking of? Anyway, hold that thought. Malrang going to be jumped on. Septed looking for that kill, going deep. Duel, can he finish him off? No. Forcing that flash out of Mickey for the escape.
Close, but no cigar, and they still have Caitlyn freed up into the top side. They did get a lot of summoners, but that's the power of Braum when you're dealing with Kassadin. You can always just jump into the mix, and Kassadin does not have enough cooldowns or cooldown reduction and levels into a Rift Walk just yet to dodge out of a Winter Spike being procced immediately. So he has to flash out, or I believe he flashed in to try to secure the kill onto Karma, but she's already at an Athene's Holy Grail.
I'm looking now, it wasn't actually
he's just going for the build that gets you HP and enough cooldown reduction, because Gragas benefits so much from that. Wow, the damage of Lindarang.
Okay, coming on in, and it's harder to dodge this time, Malrong.
Holy crap.
You're not getting away from this Rek'Sai.
I think she looks a little less, I don't know, there's something odd about the new Rek'Sai that looks like she doesn't do that much damage just in animation-wise, but that is just not the case as he deletes Lindarang.
Yeah, Lindarang looks like only with the Kindle Gems and just a bit of health. No armor right now, and even the Rek'Sai with limited items, just the warriors, still able to do enough. I suppose you tweak the numbers enough and you make that ult a little bit more consistent. You can see Rek'Sai doing crazy stuff like this.
That's 100 to 0. That's level 7 to level 9. I mean, he has no armor, but that seems like a lot of damage.
Well, we're beginning to understand why people are playing this Rek'Sai now.
And we saw it previously on 7-11, so now here's 7-12 and even stronger.
Looks very, it's hard to get away from the Rek'Sai in the beginning, even so. And here comes the chase on the Mickey. They're looking for it. Can he actually get out here? No. He does not have the flash. And looks like they really wanted to give that kill over to Septed too. Give the assist over to Duel.
Wisely so. Make sure that Kassadin starts snowballing. Give him as much gold as possible. A champion that relies so heavily on both levels and gold is imperative that he gets ahead. And he's already in a CS advantage into this Karma lane. And when he can go to the side lanes and be a real threat one-on-one against Mickey, is going to be disaster for the ROX Tigers.
Lindarang, it's not the first turret anymore down in the bot lane, but could have just easily gone in there, poked the turret, and taken another turret down.
Oh, it's being patient, and off the back of that first break and the fight into the bottom side, they were able to walk away with the Rift Herald. Now it's going to just headbutt its way into that first mid lane turret going down for the ROX Tigers, and sitting at a 2-turret advantage with the mid one going down puts him in a great position for contesting this Ocean Drake.
Rift Herald not going to do much outside of taking down that turret. And the Ocean Drake coming up, as you mentioned. Lots of assistance pings down in the bottom lane. They're looking to set up some vision. As 4 members of ROX coming down here. Mickey also has his TP. So you can see Helper just on the run, forced to flash, but there's the Cataclysm. Cask, really nice Cask actually to keep him alive for quite a long time. But in comes the teleport. Can they finish off this Gragas? Doesn't look like it, as the body slam will get him to safety.
Well played mechanically there from Helper to get out of that situation, but they don't have enough people to wave clear this just yet, but they won't lose a turret now.
Oh, the chunking onto Duel, that was really nicely targeted by Mickey to get onto that backline. Here comes Assassin Rek'Sai, level 10, looking to get onto that backline. This is opened up, the TP from behind. Malrong getting on top of that key. Look at how much damage he takes. The flash will get him away. Septed trying to pick him up, but he can't. And look at that, over on the left side, Malrong all alone being taken out by Songyun and Seongwon. And one other person over there, can't really see. It looks like he is actually going to get away. And Septed going a little bit too far. In comes Lindarang trying to clean up the crew. Looks like at least Septed was able to pick him off, and Songyun with a nice snipe there.
Classic assassin syndrome there. You got Rek'Sai thinking she can take the whole team by herself. Septed looking for kills all by himself, and they get so spread out that none of them end up killing anybody in the end. And ROX Tigers stay as a unit. They walk away with the kills, blue buff, and now a dragon. The power of teamwork allows them to not only walk away with, and they didn't even lose their tier 1.
Yeah, I mean, Septed just didn't have enough time to push in the top lane, and then it comes behind.
Yeah, so, okay, this one's fine. They're going onto key. Exhaust comes through, and he does a nice flash out of the ultimate here, but Septed just gets so greedy utilizing his Rift Walk first. And we're playing Kassadin, he's already there. You got to use your Rift Rock to close the gap earlier. Level 16 Cassidy, this would have been fine, but notice his build. There's no cooldown reduction in this just yet. It's Rod of Ages, it's your Ever8, and your Merc Treads, and as such, pays with his life.
Not worth it. For sure. Not worth it. Team's not going to be happy with that one. And now 5,000 gold ahead is the ROX Tigers. They get a Drake for their own. They're sitting on a 3-0-2 Caitlyn already with Shiv and Infinity Edge completed at 17 minutes. And, I mean, looking at the items on the side of Ever8, they have an okay amount of armor, I suppose. They got a couple of tabbies. That's about it. We have another fight starting here. They're trying to get onto that Caitlyn, but look at all those shields. You're not going to kill him. Here comes Malrang with a huge kick away from Seonghwan to save his life. Songyun is still alive. He will finally go down, but it looks like Septon might pay for his life with it. Nice job there, holding on to that second Q by Seonghwan. And they were going deep for that Caitlyn. They do get her, but they trade two.
And that proves how difficult it's becoming to take down the Caitlyn between so much protection. Every single member can assist in peeling her, and they do just that. And now they're pushing on that tier 2. They finally took her out, but at what cost? Just not worth it again for Ever. And the gold lead continues to grow for ROX Tigers.
Mickey, able to flash the body slam, but forced to use his flash. Actually bought a Dark Seal. He's got 5 stacks on that one, sitting on 7 assists.
Here's that replay there. Remember, Jin can't assist on this one fully. They flash in and he's able to bypass the Unbreakable to try to hit some damage, but nobody else can do damage. Helper's not even close to being here, while Jarvan isn't there either. He can finally assist. He throws out that cast right at the end, and sure, Cassidy's ability to jump past so many members is unrivaled, but in the end, look at Karma zoning out so many members. Curtain Call didn't even have an opportunity to be used in that, and while Caitlyn did lose her spree, she's now 4-1-3, and there is no armor on this side of Cassidy. He's not in a position where he can jump in and take her out. They need Jin to provide DPS for them to have a chance on winning these fights.
Jin about half an item behind at this point, really struggling to keep up. And Septon doing his best to carry on a not super fed Cassidy. Has the majority of his kills, but Duel forced to be eaten up. But the big kick coming in here from Seonghwan. They're looking for the double kill here. Can they convert? They will get Duel, and they will get Ella. Double kill going over to Seonghwan. Linderong. Okay, he's just gonna clear that up and get away.
The ROX Tigers just sticking to the game plan. A completely different team from game 1, but so is Ever, and now they're pushing in for an inhibitor in under 20 minutes. There's not going to be an answer for this tower. They haven't lost a single objective, just death. That's not a big deal for what they're doing to Ever this time around.
Ever in a really awkward spot here. You see the Baron has come up, but tons of gold given over to the ROX Tigers. They want to go back and buy as a team, get out onto the map, but Mickey the Unfortunate will be tagged by Malrang here, the assassin. Oh, he's actually going to get Seonghwan. This is really annoying. They're trying to save him, but look at that burst damage. Forced to hop over to Mickey.
What an ability. You can just run away from it. You walk away from it.
It looks nice when you don't dodge it, but when you do dodge it, it looks really weak.
Yeah. Oh well, just being a pesky bee there, Malrang, not being able to do much more this time around. And here's a great attempt. It's just purely mechanical. They don't respect the wave. You gotta wait for the wave to crash when you're this far behind, and Songhyun's mechanics allow them to get Tam Kench deeper into the Glacial Fissure, and they're able to clean up Duo as well.
So behind by about 8,000 gold here is Ever. Just looking to hold on, get that Cassidy and Jin a little bit more farmed up. Their XI looked good earlier on, but now that they're behind, it's kind of underwhelming. At least ROX Tigers, they're not going for the Baron just yet. It looks like they want to continue pushing these lanes.
And we have to talk about the distinctions between Game 1, where the ROX Tigers were in the losing position, and we could talk about them stalling out the game because their composition allowed them to do so. Kassadin is not a good wave clear champion. Neither is Jhin, and as such, they don't have the tools to get this game into the 50-minute mark without ROX making a mistake. And as long as they stay grouped, the chances of a mistake go down significantly.
Yeah, and even if they do get to that point in the game, Songyun's going to be hitting like a missile. Not sure where I was going with that
like
one.
a truck.
Like a truck, okay. Like a car.
No, it's a
like a rocket launcher. That's what it looks like he's holding now with that new pulse fire skin. And you can see just nice siege with all the traps here from Caitlyn. And looking to set up another line and slowly pick away at that inhibitor. Ever8, they're just not confident to take this fight.
They know they don't have the damage to do it. They're just going to give this away. Duel's already at under half HP. If they lose a fight here, the game's over.
Now, Unbreakable comes out the second. Helper was thinking about engaging to really discourage that. Two inhibitors going down. ROX, they don't even want the Baron. They're just saying, hey, we want to push our advantage right now. We're not waiting any longer.
It's awesome when teams do this, but they don't realize, oh!
Boom, the dunk right there from Linderong. Just no hope for Helper at this point. And are they going to try to end the game here? Trying to make this the shortest League of Legends game we've had in LCK all split?
I believe they are.
Because we're only at 23 minutes, guys. Curtain call opens up. In the front are the tanky members. The big shield coming through from Mickey. Really, Duel is just tickling them at this point. And still Helper's not up. They're going to take down one Nexus turret. The other one is quite low. They're looking for the end. That is going to be the second Nexus turret falling down. Ever just falling like flies right now. Can't even get close. Septed trying to come from behind. Mickey even flashing in. But as long as they hit that Nexus, this should be game number 2. Linderong doing his best. Expect a impression. Trying to take this out. He doesn't even get to do it. That's going to do it. Tied up at 1 is this series.
In under 24 minutes, they didn't even look at Baron. Do you need to have good Baron control? No, not if you get this far ahead and you can just go ruffle stomp them into the mid lane, but they played the game out so well. They understood what they needed to do, and it all started with that dive into the bottom lane. Get Caitlyn ahead, keep getting advantages around Caitlyn, and they never looked back. There was a glimmer of chance forever when they were able to pick off Linderang. Okay, maybe Kassadin is able to get some kills after they handed it off to Mickey, but in the end, the team fight disjuncture from Ever just was so apparent that the immense shields that they had were not faced by whatever we're providing.
Ever, they're really going to have to go back to the drawing board after this one. They had a good draft and game in game number 1 when they were on the blue side. And really, it just came down to Malron getting their entire team ahead with the Elise. I think going into game 3, ROX can easily target that pick and say, okay, we're just not going to give the Elise thing again in game 3.
This is that dive into the bottom, and that started everything. They split up the map, and they're able to secure an advantage into the bottom side. And sure, while Mickey did get chunked out every once in a while, and here's the attempt onto him. Yeah, so he did try to flash and get in. They just don't have enough damage. Even this early on, had that deadly first minute, they would have needed to go for something else. And here's where the assassin trademark moves end up happening, where they're going in one by one. Here comes Septed. Bit of a mechanical misplay. Could have been able to walk away with at least 1 kill and maybe salvage the situation and put an end to ROX's push, but it just did not happen. He's going to end up going down here. No chance. Surrounded by 4 enemies. The toothbrush from Songhyun just doing so much damage at this point. Does it not look like an electric toothbrush?
The toothbrush is actually.
I brought mine today after eating it. It totally looks like that.
Well, the one time they thought they can catch the Caitlyn, they do in the end, but they trade once again, 1 by 1. Members come in, even though Septic comes in and does take down the Caitlyn. Pays for it with his life.
The Assassin's Curse, so be it, but we're just going to have a highlight of ROX just stomping Ever, and whatever could have done for this game is continue to look for advantages around their Kassadin, and they needed to split the map up. Unfortunately, the composition that they had is so fickle in that you need to not fall behind because of your severe lack of wave clear. That's why wave clear is such a valuable tool.
Yeah, really gonna have to rethink their draft going into Game 3. Should be an exciting one between the ROX Tigers and Ever8. But guys, we do have the result coming up here. 24 minutes.
And a super swift victory. Karma doing a lot of work with her Athene's Holy Grail combination with a Caitlyn that basically got a BF sword at around 5 minutes in.
Yeah, she was just chunking them down in the bottom lane. And even though Duel did have the most damage on his team, not able to carry them on his back. Didn't get enough early on. And yeah, that's going to do it for game number 2. We got to look at the result.